Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com and P.O. Combs Asian Art in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is Friday the 13th, March 13th, 2020. And this is our weekly video. We'll see what's going on over at eBay, what happened last week at CATAWIKI, what's been going on the global member pages and all that good stuff. First, a couple of updates. Hope everybody's well out there and you're staying healthy with all that's going on. Let's see here. First thing. One of the things that we did this week, because a lot of people have asked about the global pages, and we've added a drop-down box here that you can go to, and you can go over and see some of the previous auction listings that have been featured on the global auction pages. These are the pages that we have they're member-based. It's $4 a month. But these are things that we handpick, just like we do with eBay each week and CATAWIKI for inclusion in the newsletter. We're doing this now with pages on live auctioneers and Invaluable. And if you hop over here, it's also, you can get to it through the blog. We added it to the blog for the week. There is a page that shows just some of the things that have been on live auctioneers and Invaluable that we've dug out in Bid Square in the last couple of months and starting it. There's a lot of stuff on here. There's a lot of things on here to look at, and it'll give you some idea of what it is, what those pages are all about. And you get to see them, of course, before they sell if you subscribe. But there's a lot of very, very fine material that's gone through here in the last couple of months, last month and a half. Great Kangxi pieces, good Wan Li, all that other stuff. So if you want to take a look, if you're wondering what it is you might see on the global pages, that's where you can see it. The other thing I wanted to mention was that we added a separate page for auction results from on the global pages for all the different auction houses. We've put them all in one area and put them in by auctioneers so you can follow it down, and it's a lot easier rather than throwing them on the end of each page of the active listings. So they're now all in one thing, and we update it every week. We've updated the pages, I think, 3 times this week. The other thing I wanted to mention, too, was, get back to the right page for this, over on the identification assistant page here, one of the things that's happened is that a lot of the browsers, Chrome, Firefox, all of them, they now by default block pop-ups. So if you're using the identification assistant thing and service and you can't get the images to upload, it's because your pop-up blockers are preventing it from allowing it to happen. And we've added to the identification assistant page directions and instructions on how to fix it. And here are links to Firefox, Microsoft Edge, in Chrome, and it'll show you. It's very easy to disable so that you can upload images. It's just turning off the pop-up blocker, and it will work perfectly fine. Once you update it, open a new browser window, and you're ready to go. Okay, so check that out if you're having trouble uploading images. A few people let me know this week, and I checked and found out that the tech companies are changing the way they're putting out their browsers. All right, now on to, let's see, what's the next thing that's up here? That's it. Now we're down to this week's newsletter page. It was a very good week. There were some great things on here, some really fine pieces, and they did very, very well. And if you haven't subscribed yet to the newsletter, that's free. You can just sign up for it, and we'll let you know when we update the page on Friday. But if we hop over, we're going to take a look at how some things did. You may recall last week I talked about this pair of vases because they hadn't quite closed. They had another couple hours to go. They were up to $10,000, and in the end, I thought they might go up a little more, maybe another $1,000 or $2,000. I thought at the time. They didn't go up at all. They stayed right at $10,001. That was the final selling price for the pair of 1780s export covered jars. They were very nice jars, and I hope they got paid for. And then over here is the big Kangxi bowl. This got a lot of attention. This shape of bowl is made in 5-inch versions all the way up to even 15 inches. This was a big one, though. This one was about 14 inches in diameter. It was a beautifully done piece of Kangxi porcelain, wonderful Famille Verte enamels, lots of activity. I don't know what the scene is about particularly, but obviously it's some sort of allegorical scene, and I'm sure somebody out there can go look it up if they're so inclined. And this did very well. In the end, it brought $11,900, which is a good price. but it was a very rare bowl, mostly because it was, one, it was very big, and two, it had a very interesting scene on it, and it looked to be in good condition. So that was a good example. This was the seller, Welcome All Friends. They're over in the Netherlands, and they sell on eBay. Most of the time they have buy it now things, but every once in a while they do an auction. And as I said last week, when they do an auction, you want to pay attention because they put up good things. They put up really nice things. All right, and this was one of them. Nice bowl. And then over here, this was one of the global pages. This was something that Heritage had up. And a beautiful set of memorial, early 19th century porcelains, exceptional quality, exceptional condition. They brought $3,200, and they were inscribed with Fortuna Victim Security, Securturi, excuse me on that. And what that basically means is that it means great fortune or good luck will follow a good man. So it was sort of a tribute to somebody, I guess. All righty, if you're not caught up on your Latin. Okay, now over here, this was another piece that was up. This was a really large plate, beautifully done, 18th century with the famous basket of flowers motif in the center. This was a pretty good-sized dish. It brought $1,800, and how big was this thing? 35 centimeters, but very crisp, very sharp, very nicely done. All right, and that's why it brought that money. Good example, though. Beautiful condition. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out was this. This was a flambe glazed ram's head vase, a nice one that was on. It's probably a 19th century example, early to mid 19th century, but a beautiful example and nice glazes on it. And had a good looking bottom. The bottom had a nice sort of soft bluish celadon ground to it. Here it is right here, a little bit of overrun of glaze, but really nice flambe texture to it. And this, I think, was a pretty good buy. It went for 1,800 pounds. So I hope one of you took a shot at that. And then over on CATAWIKI, they had these. They had a couple of very nice no masks. If you collect Japanese stuff, no masks are terrific to collect. Some people have hundreds of them. This was a nice old one, probably Edo period. They described it as Edo period also, but very nice patination to the wood, beautifully expressive eyes. It still had some of the whiskers coming out of the bottom, and it did pretty well. It brought $526, which is not a crazy price for one of those at all. They're very interesting. And there was another one, the more famous type of the woman's face. Here it is. It's wood with plaster and paint and pigment and so forth. And this was a probably early Meiji period example, but nicely done. Often when you see these, the noses are banged up and they have a lot of damage. This had a little tiny loss on the top, but that was it. And then they have the painted hair here at the top. And this did okay. It didn't bring a lot. It was a pretty good buy. It brought $1,052. And for one of these, that's not a huge price. That's not a crazy price. Some of these can bring $2,000 or $3,000. But a very nice example, and it had nice natural paint on it. Beautiful. And then over here to this. This, I think, was a very good buy. I don't know who got this, but a beautiful apricot ground 19th century silk needlework. A good-looking hanging. This is a good one. And look at this. Somebody got it for nothing. $220. That was a great buy. That was a great buy. I don't think it was 18th century. He thought it was 18th century. I think it's probably 19th, but really good buy. Somebody stole that. That should have brought $500 to $700, I would think. At any rate, that was a good buy. So congrats. I hope one of you got it. You know, if you didn't, leave a bid. I'm going to say that probably till the day I die. All right, now on to this. The cloisonné paneled inlaid carved wooden box. This was elegant. This was just an elegant piece of Chinese craftsmanship, beautifully worked, nice colors, in very good condition. The condition of this box was great. Often the feet on these boxes, Chinese boxes for some reason, tend to get their feet knocked off because they're not always very well attached. But this was a beautiful, beautiful cloisonné example. Nice thing, and I think somebody got a good buy on this. I think this was a nice thing to buy. $1,045. Very good looking. And it was 14 by 23 centimeters. So it was a little under, 7, 8 inches long, 3 or 4 inches wide. Not terribly big, but just beautiful quality. Always look at the artwork. It's all about the quality. And then over here to this, the two boys, the Kangxi figures. These were nice porcelains, nice aubergine, a rocky base on it and all that business. And it ended up bringing $576. It had one of the heads apparently was restuck, But that's not a bad price for that. There is another pair of these for sale right now somewhere over on Live Auctioneers Are Invaluable or Bid Square, one of those. I saw it this morning when we were updating the page. So if you missed that one, go over and chase that one around, the other one around. All right, and then on to this, the Wan Li Kendi. Nice looking Kendi, good dark blue. You know, I like the Kendis when they have darker blue in them rather than the washed out light blue, unless they're Japanese. The Japanese ones always tend to have lighter blue on them. This was a nice looking Kendi. Here it is. Here's an angle shot of the tip of the spout and all that, and it ended up selling for $2,013, which is right about in the mid range of what these bring. It wasn't a big price, and it wasn't a small price. Apparently, there was a small repaired nick to the tip of the spout, but that was it. It was reattached, but it was very small. I don't think that mattered much. And then over here, this was another piece that was being sold by Welcome All Friends. Very nice Kangxi Dish. And what was really great about this was that most of the time when you see these plates, the center enamels are often fairly worn because they were used a lot. This one, the center enamels look to be in beautiful condition. Often they're sort of faded and you can't see too much. They're still perfectly good to buy, but not in such great condition as this one. And here's a picture of the back of it. It's got that grooved foot, that big grooved foot rim on the back. Nice looking little iron oxide line running around it. Good legitimate looking foot rim. And this ended up selling for $1,913. But it was in beautiful condition. Only had a couple of rim frits, which isn't much, and it was about 13 inches in diameter. So that was a good buy. That was a good thing to buy, mainly because of its condition. The pattern is not especially rare, but in that condition, it's a bit of an unusual thing. All right, and then over here to the Famille Rose Teapot. This was a nice one, Yongchen period. It had a hairline in the handle down here, but nice, unusual decoration. A couple of tiny frits. Everything else looked pretty good on it. There might have been a tiny nick on the edge of the spout, but it ended up selling for $706. Yeah, there it says the spout as a chip. $706. That was a very reasonable buy. It's a nice early teapot. Very good example. And this was also Welcome All Friends again. They had a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about today because it was all good. And then the Kangxi Vase that we talked about that has the flaming mandala on the back. This one did quite well, and there's a pair of them right now over on the global pages. But this could be your guide if you're looking at it. This one sold for $1,480, so figure the other pair is worth at least double that and maybe triple. All right, now let's mosey on over to here. This was this sort of archaic bronze imitation vase. It was sort of a nice thing. I liked it. I think it was probably a 19th century example. Here's a picture of the bottom of it, late 19th, early 20th century. There it is. But good looking pot, and it did okay. It brought they said it was 20th century. Well, it could be. Early 20th, I think. And it brought $709. Good looking thing. How did they describe this thing all the way through? All they say is 20th century. But it's not new, so it was probably may have a Republic period or something. All right, now on to this page here, the Transitional Char. This was also the same seller. Nice Transitional Char, big one, very well decorated, good white body on it. Here's a picture of the base. Nice legitimate wear around the edges of the foot from sliding around on tabletops. And it sold for $5,049. Nice looking piece of porcelain though. And then over here, the big pair of covered rose mandarin or rose canton jars. These were nice. They were intact. They still had their lids. Good amount of gilding on the chimeras. And these were fairly good size. These were about 17 or 18 inches tall. He misdated them a little. He said circa 1900. They're older than that. These were done about 1840. I don't know why they put circa 1900 on them. Let me take a look at the foot rim here. Hold on a second. No, 19th century. They made a mistake on that, I think. Anyway, these were 43 centimeters tall, the pair of jars. So they were very good size. They were about 19 inches or so in height, which is unusual. And they brought $1,513. But they were attractive looking pair of vases. And then over here, this was a nice little late Wan Li period dish. Well done. Here's a picture of the bottom. He sold it as 18th century. Had a hairline in it, but it was a nice old plate. And it ended up selling for just $109. So the price impact of a crack. Look at that. That was a good-looking plate. They made that same pattern, this molded pattern with these edges like this in the Kangxi period as well. But that was I think that was a good buy. $109 for a good Kangxi plate is an example to own. And then the pair of 20th century lanterns that I liked. I thought these were just pretty, very well done, high quality work, good enamels, nice white paste with some enwois decoration or something in the body here. You can see it's like a honeycomb pattern. And it ended up selling, the pair ended up selling for $2,222, which is fine. These are unusual, and they look great lit. If you ever get a pair of these, put a light in them. They're fabulous. And then over here to this, the Dragon Rank Badge, mid-19th century. Very nice one. Good gilt thread. I love this. When we put it on, I thought, boy, that's a nice rank badge. And apparently everybody thought it was a nice rank badge. It sold for $5,100. 1851 to 1861 Zhenfeng period. Seems like they did some homework on that. And that's about right. I'm not disagreeing with them at all. It was a good-looking rank badge, nice old one, and in good shape. Now, on to this, the Zhenfeng Quanzhang plaque. This was a small plaque. It's like 5 by 8 inches, but very nice quality. And I like the fact that somebody put it in a European or American OG frame with gilding on it, with a little black painted fillet around the inside. But this was a nice looking plaque, good looking surface, the right amount of orange peel in it. You don't want to see where it looks like a bumpy ocean, because those are fakes. But that's a nice one, and I like the way they did the flowers and the leaves, the red leaves, autumn, and beautifully done. And this did fine in the end. It brought $1,630. I don't think it was by a famous artist, but it was very well done, just nicely done. And then on to this. This was a very good Chinese Amari Kangxi period molded plate. Nice quality, and what it had going for it was, again, condition. The gilding was all in nice shape pretty much from what I could see. I didn't see a lot of wear on it. Not a lot of fritting on the edge, very little. The gilt edge is still on there. It's a tiny, tiny bit of wear to some of the petals here, but other than that, it looked to be all right. And it ended up selling for $445. They sold it as being perfect. And they have good sellers, so I tend to believe them. All righty. And then now what's going on coming up this week? There's a lot coming up this week, actually. This is just some of the stuff that we have right now that we pulled over from live auctioneers. There are hundreds of things on here. It's a very, very long list. And there's a lot of auctions closing this weekend. Ditto for Invaluable. Some nice Wan Li pieces are on there right now. Coronari Auctions has them. But it's not for a few weeks, but you want to get in there. If you're a Wan Li or late Ming or early Kangxi buyer, you want to look at this. There's some good things. We'll look at a couple of them. Somebody has this up. I can't remember the name of the seller off the top of my head, but this is a Kangxi bowl. Great big one. I like this a lot. Here's the picture of the back of it. It's right as rain. Nice looking thing. And this is 35 centimeters. So this is almost a 15-inch Kangxi bowl. It should do quite well. And as we just saw, the Famille Verte bowl just brought over $11,000. So this one, the estimate seems fairly reasonable on it for a bowl this big. It's bigger than the other one, and we'll see how that does. And then the big late Ming blue and white dish. This is a big dish. This thing is something like 30-something inches. How big is this thing? Close to 30 inches, 42 centimeters. So it's good size. It's about 18 inches wide. Nice big piece. And we'll see how that does in a couple of weeks when it sells. And then over here, this is up right now I think this is on Live Auctioneers. A very, very, very nice 18th century export plate, early 19th, but unusual pattern, very unusual plate. And it also is quite large. I think this is about 14 inches. And then this is on Live Auctioneers. I brought this up just because I know some of you out there like Japanese stuff. And this is a beautiful 18th century Japanese phoenix dish. Nice quality, nice rim with this sort of cartoony looking. I love the chimera going around the edge. Almost looks like a salamander. He's really been smoothed out. but I liked it. And this closes in a week or so. Check that out if you're after a Japanese Arita. And there's also this on the pages right now is two Japanese Arita pieces. One of them is a very unusual small double gourd where they've added a metal mount, probably in Europe, to it. And then this nice Arita Kendi late 17th century example. Beautiful quality, though. Those are nice. And then this was something that's coming up, and it closes very shortly, I believe, on, or maybe it already did close, I'm not sure. But this was that cool-looking fern in floral Kangxi Dish that was on CATAWIKI that we had on the newsletter page. I just liked the pattern of it a lot. And, oh, it did sell. This one closed. It sold for $120. That was a good buy. That was a very good buy. That was a nice-looking plate and an unusual pattern. And then over here, this closes tomorrow. This is a nice little sort of garlic neck, almost a double gourd Kangxi vase, but a good looking one. It's up to $490. Should do a little better because the cobalt is nice on it. We'll see how it does. And then this was the Red Cliffs Bowl, late Ming, Tanchi period, something like that, inscribed, as you can see. And that's got, closes Sunday. And now over on here on eBay is that dandy little bronze I mentioned last week. I just like this. It's not going to bring a lot of money, but it's a good, authentic thing. Nice little small gilt lacquer bronze, late Ming. Nice condition, about 5 or 6 inches tall. Very personal thing. I like this a lot. I thought that was very nice. It's only up to $355. It closes early or late tonight, tomorrow, around midnight on Friday. So if you like that, get over there and chase it. It's a good looking thing. And then this is up. This closes on Sunday. And this is a nice looking Hu form vase, celadon ground, Guangxu period. It is a Marken period example. Unfortunately, it was drilled through the bottom. Here it is. But this looks perfectly fine to me. It's got an old nick on the inside. Here's a picture of the mark, the way it is. The glaze here, this area here, the surface, the texture of that glaze looks nice. The color looks good. The shape looks good. Here it is, celadon, nice crackle. And we'll see how that does, all right? But that should do pretty well. That should bring, $6,000 or $8,000, I would think. But a good-looking piece, all right? And that's about it for the week. It was a nice week with a lot of good things up. There's obviously a lot going on in the world right now. I'm not going to talk about that. You can hear about it through your local news station, but with all the stuff about the virus. But this is something else. And if you're stuck at home and you don't want to go out, go shopping online. There's a lot of good stuff available right now. Subscribe to us here on YouTube, please. If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. I love some of the comments from last week. It was fun to read them. And all of you that have subscribed over for the newsletter page, thank you. And been a good week. All righty, we're working on something right now, a video regarding a vase that sold in France last week for almost $5 million. And we're looking into that vase to see what we think of it. It'll be we're trying to figure out if it's real or not, to be perfectly honest. All right. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you all next week. And enjoy the spring. It's just about here. All right. Bye-bye.